The alien council chamber was filled with quiet murmurs. The leaders of 5 different star systems had gathered, their eyes fixed on the holographic display floating in the center of the room. It was a map of the Andari sector, a region of space rich with energy resources and ancient relics. Yet at the edge of this map, a series of signals had appeared, strange transmissions that had been recorded decades ago. "These signals," said Elder Thark, his 3 eyes blinking in rapid succession, "speak of humans, of their warships, and of their power. The legends say these ships are unmatched in speed, intelligence, and precision." A younger council member, Leora of the Shirk system, leaned forward. "Elder Thark, these are only myths. Humans are distant, primitive. They barely have ships that can cross light years. Why should we waste resources worrying about stories?" Thark's gaze swept the chamber, his voice calm but firm. "Because legends exist for a reason. We ignore warnings at our own peril." The chamber erupted into debate. Most of the council dismissed the warnings outright. "Fables," said Varn of the Karel cluster. "Stories to scare weak civilizations. We cannot let fear rule us." Despite their dismissal, Leora felt a shiver in her spine. She had seen patterns in the old transmissions that others ignored. Human warships, the messages suggested, were more than machines. They were extensions of human thought, able to respond to threats almost instinctively. Outside the council chamber, the Andari skies were quiet. Ships of all shapes and sizes patrolled the borders of their systems, their crews confident. No human presence had been detected for centuries. The warnings seemed irrelevant. Still, Leora could not shake the feeling that something was approaching. In orbit around the Shirk homeworld, the alien fleet carried out maneuvers. Dozens of sleek vessels glided through space, scanning every corner of their territory. Captain Ryle of the flagship Korath laughed as he issued orders. "Sensors show nothing unusual. These human stories are just bedtime tales for our species." "Perhaps," said Lieutenant Derek, a cautious officer. "But the old records do not make legends true," Ryle snapped. "Focus on the mission." Below them, miners worked on a massive asteroid, extracting crystals that glowed with a soft blue light. It was a peaceful day in the system, ordinary and predictable. That is, until the sensors picked up an anomaly. A single blip appeared, distant and faint, moving in a straight line. Darek squinted at the readings. "Captain, something is approaching at incredible speed. It isn't responding to communications." "Probably debris," Ryle said dismissively, "or a stray scout drone. Nothing to worry about." But the blip grew closer and its speed increased in a way no known technology could explain. Darek's claws tightened around the control panel. "Captain, it's moving faster than anything we've ever recorded. It's almost like it anticipates our movements." Ryle hesitated, frowning. "That's impossible. We've mapped every possible human route. If humans exist, they shouldn't be here." Yet the readings didn't lie. Something was coming, something that the legends had warned about. On board the mysterious vessel, the humans worked silently. Their warship was unlike anything the aliens had ever imagined. Sleek, massive, yet perfectly controlled, it moved with quiet grace through space. Its surface shimmered under the light of distant stars, reflecting intelligence rather than aggression. Captain Elena Torres sat in the command chair, her eyes scanning multiple holographic displays. "We've received a call for assistance," she said to her crew. "The Andari sector is in trouble. Let's see what myths are really made of." Her crew worked with precise coordination, drones deployed to survey the alien systems, sending back information instantly. Systems aboard the ship adapted, creating strategies before any threat could react. The human warship did not rush. It did not attack. It simply moved with intent, careful and deliberate. Back in the alien fleet, confusion was growing. The strange blip had now revealed itself. A massive vessel, sleek and luminous, decloaking in orbit of the resource planet. The alien captains froze as the ship's sensors scanned them. "It's enormous," whispered Darek. "And it's intelligent." The warship's presence was calm, yet every alien felt an inexplicable tension. It wasn't threatening. It wasn't violent. And yet the air around them felt charged, as if the very universe had paused to observe. Ryle's voice was strained. It shouldn't be able to move this way. Our calculations are wrong." Leora watched from the council chamber. She had urged caution, warned of the legends, and now the truth was before them. She could only hope that diplomacy, not arrogance, would guide the council. For hours, the human warship remained silent, studying the alien fleet and the planet below. And then the first small act of intervention occurred. Debris from a recent asteroid collision was drifting dangerously close to the alien mining colony. With a subtle shimmer, the human ship deployed automated drones. They gently pushed the debris away, repairing damage before anyone could react. Whispers spread among the aliens. It's helping? Why? This doesn't make sense. The legends had said humans were powerful, but no one had imagined their strength could be paired with care, intelligence, and strategy. Ryle's frustration grew. This is absurd. They're not attacking, they're solving problems we didn't even know existed. Leora's eyes widened. That's exactly what the myths described. Humans do not fight like other species. They think differently. They solve, they adapt, they anticipate, and they don't need destruction to prove it. Yet not everyone listened. Many of the elder council members still scoffed, calling the events coincidence. But the younger ones, those who had studied the ancient warnings carefully, felt a rising awe and a rising fear. As the sun of the Shirk homeworld dipped behind the gas giant in the distance, the human warship finally made a subtle movement. It hovered closer to the fleet, sensors analyzing every vessel, every weapon, every system. Captain Torres spoke quietly to her crew. We are not here to fight. We are here to show what humans are capable of. Let them see the truth for themselves. The aliens did not understand this yet. They were still caught between disbelief and amazement. They had ignored the warnings for too long. But the first signs of their mistake were already visible. In the council chamber, Elder Thark sighed. Perhaps we should have listened. Leora nodded silently. It is never too late to learn, Elder, but arrogance can be costly. The alien fleet hovered tensely above the resource planet. For hours, the mysterious human warship had remained calm, almost serene, yet every alien vessel felt the weight of its presence. Sensors could not penetrate its systems completely, and every attempted maneuver the fleet made seemed anticipated and neutralized, but not attacked. Captain Ryle of the flagship Korath paced the bridge. I don't understand. It isn't firing, it isn't threatening, yet it moves as if it knows exactly what we will do. How is that possible? Leora, standing beside the council observation deck, whispered, It is human intuition, strategy, coordination. They see the entire situation as one living problem, not just ships and weapons. Ryle frowned. That doesn't make sense. No one should be able to predict us this accurately. Humans are not like us, Leora said quietly. Legends say they think differently, faster, smarter, more precise. Below, the miners on the asteroid were at work when a sudden tremor shook their platforms. One of the smaller satellites above had been knocked loose in orbit. Panic spread as debris started falling toward the colony. Then, without warning, a small section of the human warship's hull opened like a bloom, and drones slid silently into orbit. They moved with perfect coordination, pushing each dangerous fragment into safe trajectories. A trapped maintenance ship was gently nudged back into docking range. Within moments, the crisis was over, and the colony remained unharmed. Alien crews on the fleet's bridge watched in disbelief. They just fixed everything? And no one was hurt? Darek muttered. Captain Ryle gritted his teeth. It can't be. Humans are supposed to be unpredictable, but this is controlled, surgical. Leora could only nod. They are exactly as the myths describe. Not just powerful, but wise and precise. Over the next several hours, the human warship conducted several more subtle interventions. A rogue asteroid on a collision path with a research station was nudged into a safe orbit. A malfunctioning communications satellite was repaired without a single crew member from the aliens leaving their ships. Even a small pirate vessel, long thought uncatchable, was gently disabled by remote drones with no damage done to the crew. Every act astonished the aliens. The elders who had once mocked the warnings were pale and silent. Some younger officers began whispering to each other, pointing at the screens and shaking their heads in disbelief. It's like a single mind controlling everything, one said. Every action is perfect. Every decision, flawless. The myths were not exaggerations. Humans were not only capable of extraordinary power, they were capable of extraordinary intelligence and care. Meanwhile, aboard the human ship, Captain Elena Torres surveyed the alien fleet. She did not smile. She did not gloat. Instead, she spoke softly to her crew. Let them see the truth. We do not need to destroy them. We only need to show them what humans can do. Precision, patience, problem-solving. These are our greatest weapons, her crew nodded. Every drone, every system, every holographic display worked as one, anticipating problems and correcting them before anyone even noticed. Engage monitoring mode for all ships, Torres ordered. Let's see how they react when their arrogance meets calm, deliberate action. Back in the council chamber, panic had started to spread. Elder Thark's eyes widened as reports poured in. Their warship. It can intervene without harming anyone. It can control situations instantly. Our systems, our fleets, they cannot outmaneuver it. Varn of the Chiral cluster shook his head. Legends. They said humans were dangerous. We laughed. But this is beyond danger. This is perfection. Leora stepped forward. It is not perfection. It is human thinking. They analyze, adapt, and solve. The myths weren't warnings of destruction. They were warnings of intelligence unmatched by other species. The elders could not argue. Every anomaly, every precise intervention, every calm but decisive act by the human warship proved the legends true. Humans were not brutes or simple explorers. They were masters of strategy, problem-solving, and innovation. The tension reached its peak when a fleet of the Andari's most advanced vessels attempted a test. They formed a tight formation and activated a high-energy pulse to test the human ship's defenses. The pulse was intended to disable systems temporarily at most. Yet the human warship moved effortlessly. Its sensors detected the pulse before it fully activated. Drones adjusted their positions to neutralize the energy, absorbing it harmlessly and redirecting it toward safe dissipation. Not a single human system faltered. Not a single human made a mistake. Alien commanders stared in awe. How did they? They anticipated it, Leora said simply. The humans saw the problem before it existed and solved it before we even tried. That is why legends call them masters of strategy. The council finally convened a meeting, forced by the undeniable display of human ability. Elder Thark addressed the chamber, voice heavy with humility. We have ignored warnings for centuries. We laughed at myths, but now we see that we were wrong. Humans are unlike any species we have known. They are beyond us in thought, coordination, and adaptability, Varn muttered. We underestimated them. Entirely, Leora added. It is not just power that makes them formidable. It is intelligence, precision, and care. They do not destroy blindly. They solve, they protect, and they adapt. We are lucky they are not here to conquer, but to show what they can do. Even the most stubborn council members had no reply. Silence filled the chamber. The myths had been proven true. Meanwhile, in orbit above the planet, Captain Torres made a final display. The human warship deployed drones that created a holographic projection across the system, showing every act of intervention the humans had performed, repairing satellites, redirecting debris, saving ships, and stabilizing dangerous orbital paths. The alien fleet could see everything. They saw the precision, the calm, the intelligence, and finally they understood. Humans were not threats because they fought. They were threats because they solved everything better than anyone else could imagine. Ryle, now pale and silent, could only watch. We can't even touch them. We are outclassed, Leora nodded solemnly. The myths are true, and we cannot ignore them again. As the sun of the Shirk homeworld rose, the human warship began to slowly leave orbit. There were no fanfare, no threats, no destruction, just calm, deliberate movement as it set course for the stars beyond. Captain Torres looked out at the alien fleet one last time. They will tell stories, she said quietly. Let them remember what they saw. Let them learn. The aliens, still awed and humbled, watched the ship vanish into the void. The system had changed. Legends had been proven, and the arrogance of those who ignored them had been corrected, not through violence, but through unmatched intelligence and skill. By the time the council reconvened, a new understanding had taken root. The younger species who had warned of humans felt validated. The elders felt chastened but enlightened. And the entire star system had learned a lesson that would echo for generations. Do not ignore the warnings of those you do not understand. Legends are often rooted in truth. And humans are not to be underestimated. The myths were no longer myths. The warship had proven them true, and the galaxy would never view humanity the same way again.